Tonight on Business Live, 11 banks complete integration onto QR code payment system, a giant step in transitioning into a cashless society.
There are roughly 11 banks that are ready. One fintech company and one mobile money company that is ready. I believe that by mid-December, everybody else would be on board.
Also, disturbing figures from the Israel Export Institute shows a drastic decline in trade volumes. What could be accounting for this? With one of the world's powerful economic forces, we have more from the Israeli ambassador to Ghana.
Trade between Ghana and Israel, or Africa and Israel, is very low. Currently, only 1% of the trade of the whole trade of Israel is going to Africa, not to Ghana.
Plus, we visit the Circle Odona market a week after the fire disaster to ascertain the progress made in offering affected traders financial support. The president of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry has been speaking to traders on this effect.
No, the substantive support will not come from the chamber. The chamber works hand in hand with the government. And that is why I was mentioning NBSSI. We are going to sit down with the government and also send these grievances to them.
Hello and welcome. There is more after this break. So far, about 11 financial institutions and fintech companies have completed the integration for the deployment of the new QR code payment system. Now, this is a step ahead in the move by government to increase the use of electronic payment systems in the country, thereby reducing physical contact. Of course, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia last week used the system to purchase waakye at a local food joint in Accra. But speaking to Joy Business, the Chief Executive of the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, Gibbs Achihesi, disclosed that the remaining banks are expected to complete their processes before the end of the year.
What he did recently was just a testimonial show that's for everyone to have evidence of the fact that it really works, and that's basically what he did. Like I said earlier on, as we speak, there are roughly 11 banks that are ready. One fintech company and one mobile money company that is ready. I believe that by mid-December, everybody else would be on board. So there's one thing, creating the standard, and then the center being ready, and another thing, each and every individual financial institution working to integrate and make it available to their customers.
So the question is, apart from these banks that are ready, what about the retailers, the shop owners? How far with your movement with them and all that? Well,
the shop owners or the merchants and corporates, they have their accounts with either the banks or the mobile money companies or the fintech companies. And they are the payment providers, service providers. So they should go and see them for them to generate a GHQR code for them.
Is it for free?
For generation, it's for free, yes. The ones they've generated it, basically what they are doing is linking it to your bank account or to your mobile money wallet or to your fintech wallet. And when payments are made, the funds go straight into those, what do you call it, fund sources.
Then individuals as well, myself, I want to buy waakye, I want to buy rice or something.
For the individual, you have a bank account or you have a mobile wallet or you have a fintech wallet. Once your bank has completed the integration, it means that you can either go into your mobile app and then use the scan that's in there, which means that the scan not in there is GHQR compliance. And once you scan, you can then make payments. If you have a feature phone or a YAM phone, every payment service provider, they have their own short code, *773# or whatever. Once you type it in and your bank or fintech company or mobile money company has completed the integration, once you type their short code, you will see GH link payments. As soon as you press that or you choose that option, you can type in the number underneath the black and white boxes as well, and then you can type in the amount and then also effect payment.
Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, as part of measures to increase revenue mobilization, has simplified all the domestic tax laws in the country. Now, the move is expected to make the work of the revenue collection officers much easier. Speaking at a sensitization workshop to make available the abridged law to stakeholders, the head of communications and public relations at GRA, ASP Florence Asante, described the move as a critical one that will improve tax payments in the country.
GRA is undergoing transformation. We are changing the way we work to suit our taxpayers because that's the right thing to do at this time, and we are transforming our processes. And as part of the transformation and what we call our roadmap to excellence, we have abridged our tax laws. We have made them simpler for our taxpayers to comply. Why do we want to do that? We've got feedback from them that sometimes it's difficult for them to understand some of their obligations. So this whole process is about making sure that our tax laws are simple enough for taxpayers to understand and assisting them to comply. That's why we are here today.
So the kind of people that you have here, is it going to be just a one-off something or something like that?
No, not at all. It's a nationwide exercise. We are going to all the regional capitals, and then we are doing a few more. As we speak, we are doing another program in Tema for another group of taxpayers. So we want to make sure that as many taxpayers are covered and they get a feedback that we've made our tax laws simple enough for them to understand. In addition to that, we put copies of the abridged tax laws on our website so that it's accessible. You don't have to go and buy. So you can go to our website and go and download a copy for reference.
Now, Israel, aside from its biblical attribute, is also regarded as powerful in trade and investment. Unfortunately, Ghana's trade volume with Israel is so low. In fact, trade with Ghana decreased by 25% in 2019. Exports also plummeted by 30%, with key export products being chemicals and metal. Well, I sat with the Israeli ambassador to Ghana, Shani Cooper, for an honest discussion on Israel-Ghana trade and diplomatic ties. Here's more.
Trade between Ghana and Israel, or Africa and Israel, is very low. And this is the potential that I was talking about, because currently only 1% of the trade, of the whole trade of Israel, is going to Africa, not to Ghana. 1%, which is actually the same number or the same scope of trade between Israel and Vietnam. Okay? So the whole continent of Ghana equals...
Of Africa equals 1%.
Yes, sorry. The whole continent of Africa equals to the one between Israel and Vietnam.
But
and
this is awful. I mean, this is very terrible.
Yes.
Whose fault is it? Because Africa is a basket for economic potential, as you rightly stated. So is it that we are not doing much, or you are not doing much on your part?
I'll tell you. I think that our economies are not the same. They are completing. So, for example, Israel is not dealing with gold, okay? Israel, we don't have anything to do with it, or with oil. So we are not exporting raw materials from Ghana. On agriculture, for example, Israel can supply its own food. We don't export from anyone. While the massive export from Africa is on raw materials, and Israel just doesn't need to import from Africa raw materials. So with time, we have to see how we complement each other and not how we, are separated from each other. And this is the main challenge for Israel and for Ghana right now.
But there is an avenue for trade and investment. There is an avenue for tourism. Are you not exploring these avenues?
Definitely, definitely. And we are very happy to see that more and more Israelis are coming to Ghana, and more pilgrims, for example, are going to Israel. But when I'm talking about trade, I'm talking only about commodities. So I don't mean investments, I don't mean other, like tourism and other things. It's only commodities that come through the sea, and that's why the CFTA is so important.
So even as we have in the CFTA, do you see a shift in your positioning as Israel?
Well, definitely. As I said, the government of Israel sees Ghana as a focus point to the economic and...
Well, the Private Enterprise Federation says plans are far advanced to create synergies between civil society organizations, the private enterprises and government in enhancing natural resources and environmental governance in the country. Nicholas Brown has the rest of the story.
The joint forum, which was under the theme Non-State Actors Partnership on Sustainable Natural Resources and Environment Governance in Ghana within the context of climate change, saw CSOs, Private Enterprises Federation, among other key stakeholders in attendance. CEO of the Private Enterprises Federation, Nana Osebunsu, says transparency must be the backbone of the alliance they seek to forge to ensure they achieve their aim of a sustainable natural resources.
Key word is transparency. What's our motive? Our motive is to create what is not there for an efficient allocation of our resources. Our motive is to make things better for businesses, to create opportunities and livelihood empowerment for the community players to exist in their environment, peace of mind, without encroachment from the pollution, and for government to be able to administer the governance structure so the community can go on about their business.
Political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Emmanuel Yeboah-Siama, also urged a collaborative environmental governance between state agencies and private enterprises to enhance the development of Ghana's natural resources. According to him, these kinds of collaboration between civil society organizations, government, private entities, and communities will add value to the country's natural resources.
It is very important to forge this kind of partnerships with those that are doing very well. Then also you take the opportunity to also change, right, or attempt to alter the behavior of those businesses that do not want to subscribe to the tenets of sound or sustainable environmental practices. As I was mentioning or giving the typology, how best can we want to classify businesses based on their strategies? Are they obstructionist in nature, only interested in profit motive, right? Or proactive in nature? Proactive in nature are concerned with issues of profit, issue of legality, issue of ethics, and then also concern for the entire society.
This year's CSO's annual Natural Resources and Environment Sector Review is focused on strategic partnerships between CSOs and other private sector actors towards achieving sustainable natural resources and environment advocacy objectives, with climate change as a critical factor. A key outcome of the forum would be a communique to initiate further engagement. Nicholas Brown for Joy Business.
And you're still watching Business Live. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back. Do stay. Hello, you're welcome back. The Volta River Authority, VRA, will be investing heavily in technology from next year to improve power efficiency. The process, when successful, will translate into a low cost of generating power, thereby bringing down electricity tariffs. After addressing stakeholders at its 10th stakeholder interface in Accra, Chief Executive of the VRA, Emmanuel Enchidakwa, told Joy Business that Ghanaians will experience a more efficient power supply at cheaper cost. Here's more.
The Volta River Authority in the last few years has been able to reduce its legacy debts and generated some revenue from power generation. Its Chief Executive Emmanuel Enchidakwa told stakeholders that the company has made progress in diversifying its operations to make use of modern technology. In an interview with Joy Business, he said the VRA is undergoing transformation which will inure to the benefit of consumers.
You use digitization to help optimize your operations. Let's say you make the decision to minimize your costs, use digitization, or you leverage technology to be able to do that. So that is the way we want to go. And I think that Gridco is doing some work that a lot of people don't know about. They're trying to develop a smart grid. Okay, what a smart grid does is use technology to do most of the things that we manually do with the grid today. So Gridco is working on that. We want to take advantage of that to be able to improve how we deliver power to our customers. That's essentially what the digitization is meant for us. So apart from our own internal efficiency improvement, in our delivery to our customers as well too, we want to use digitization, leverage it, leverage our IT investments to make sure that the customer gets the product, which is electricity, in the best manner, in a reliable manner, and at the least cost.
Chief Executive of the State Interest and Governance Authority, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, speaking on the performance of the VRA, noted that discussions are underway for government to receive some dividends.
Through the performance contract negotiation with all the SOEs and the state institutions, we discuss how they can make profits, obviously. As I said, they grow their revenue, cut down the costs, and cut down or eliminate waste, and all those things give you the trajectory of profitability. And of course, when you do that, the dividend is the obvious outcome that the state derives it. And when the state get a dividend, it goes to help the people of Ghana. That's all the idea about dividend. So it's not dividend for me or for SIGA or for anybody. It's to get the money into the state coffers from our operations of state businesses, and then we can do the roads, we can do the hospitals without going to borrow and paying interest, huge interest. So I am very hopeful that the VRA is giving indication next year they will post profit.
The interface was to apprise key stakeholders of the authority's operational and financial performance in 2019.
Well, meanwhile, the State Interest and Governance Authority is working to collaborate with the Bank of Ghana to find an innovative way of reducing the foreign exchange losses that are incurred by public institutions as a result of the rising dollar rates. Chief Executive Stephen Asamoah Boateng made this known in his address at the 10th stakeholder interface by the Volta River Authority in Accra.
We set up a technical committee with the Bank of Ghana, and we meet every quarter. The last time was, I think, in the second quarter, but third quarter we couldn't because of COVID and all those related matters. But it is very positive. It shows teamwork is important to state businesses. And for us to know that it is the people's business we are about and that we pay very serious attention to it. And we don't ignore each other. There are things that overlap. And from SIGA's point of view, we will reach out to all areas that needs collaboration. So it's a positive sign. And I noticed VRA today, for instance, talking about the exchange rates management, which they want us to make sure it doesn't affect their finances. It's in order. That's the key job for, one of the key jobs for BOG and the Ministry of Finance to ensure there's a very lower exchange rates as a comparative to the city. I mean, we don't have any volatility going on about, so they can plan well. And so I am also very interested to make sure that this discussion between the Bank of Ghana and BOG, the Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance is fruitful. So we have a stable exchange rate in the country.
But is it only for the VRA or the energy sector or all state institutions, particularly this foreign exchange issue?
Exchange rate affects almost all our SOEs, especially those who are having international agreements and business operations across our borders. I mean, you talk about GNPC, Cocoa Board, ECG, Gridco, Bui Power, Ghana Water, they all have the issues there, Ghana Airport Company. And so it is a very important element. It affects their finances, as you could see. It affects profitability. If that can be managed well and we have stability, relative stability, I would say, because you can never have a parity. We used to have the one CD to the dollar at some point, but it's a stability, so it can enhance their planning programs.
Now, more than 1,500 affected traders during the Odona market fire have begun registering with the National Board for Small-Scale Industries for support. Now, the board has commenced the assessment process of the victims who lost their properties to the incident. There is more in this report. The source of the market fire, which has destroyed in excess of millions of goods belonging to these traders, is yet to be identified. The NBSSI has been directed by President Akufo-Addo to activate a program that will ensure that all victims of the inferno receive some form of support. As part of the process, the NBSSI has started with the engagement and registered more than 1,500 victims. Executive Director Kosi Yankee Aye told Joy Business that the government is poised to revive all businesses that were affected by the fire.
So as much as possible, our goal is to ensure that we build them and support them in times like this, in the good times and the bad times. So when there's a bad time such as this, we are called, and as the President asked us to provide some relief, the program is underway. As of this Saturday, on Friday, we met with all the stakeholders, the relevant stakeholders. We've actually aligned with them. They've brought the database that they have to support us. We set up a space at the Obra spot, the former Obra spot, and on Saturday we went straight to work and we started registering them. To date, we've registered over 1,500 people who came. I don't know what the figures are today. I will check at the end of the day. And it's still ongoing. I'm sure we'll get the opportunity to see the registration process going on. This is to allow us to get a database and see what their needs are.
Municipal Director for the National Disaster Management Organization, NATMO, in the Koliklote Assembly, Daniel Odeyapia, disclosed that about 70% of the victims have already been captured on its assessment process and ready to be provided with assistance.
Doing our assessment, you can see strong team behind me who have been support in undertaking the assessment, and we have covered more than 70% of the victims. And the modality we put in place, one key modality we put in place to do this assessment is to bring the victims to the exact location where they were operating. One, to ascertain the veracity of the fact that they were really operating here, and to also define what they were trading in, and to also try to put some value on the things they were trading which have been consumed in the fire.
The Municipal Assembly has also assured traders that it will reconstruct a modernized market facility next year. Let's stay on this because the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry has paid a visit to traders at Circle Pedestrian Mall, whose wares got ravaged by fire. The president of the chamber, Clement Osei-Amoako, has been speaking with these affected traders. He said the chamber is working to collaborate with government to make sure that anything promised will be fulfilled.
The traders are our members. We are the leaders of the private sector, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce, which was established by legislative instrument LI 611. And even that, it is our mandate that we support every business. Our motto is that our business links your business. So the moment you have a business, then it concerns us. And for us as Ghanaian, for that matter, we are also looking at the welfare of the individual private sector and the business people. And so we have deemed it very necessary that we come here to console with you and look at your legitimate grievances so that we can carry it ahead for the government to take it up there. And that is the reason why we are here.
That means there's no substantive support as it stands. You just came.
No, the substantive support will not come from the chamber. The chamber works hand in hand with the government. And that is why I was mentioning NBSSI. We are going to sit down with the government and also send these grievances to them. And so the government will look at it. And I know our president is a listening government. He has never swallowed his word before. And once he has given the assurance that he's going to work with them and support them, he will do that. But we will sit back as a private sector and then ask government to carry out whatever decision that he made with you. And if possible, get a befitting structure so that never again will this happen again.
You're still watching Business Live. Let's now give you some financial tips in our Money Lab.
You must have an investment duration and you must have a risk-return profile. An investment objective is the reason for which you would want to take an investment decision. Now, to take a very good investment decision, you must be clear on your mind the reason for which you want to put that money into the investment instrument. If, for example, your objective is to pay your child's fees, then that objective will determine the duration and the risk profile. If the objective is to build a house in 5 years, this same objective will determine your duration and risk profile. And so your investment objective is critical to determining what investment you take. When you have decided on that, then you can agree on how long it's going to take. That is the duration. And when you are done, you look at the risk potential, which means the ability for you to either lose or gain on that investment. Join us tomorrow as we go to the next level of understanding investments.
And from the Money Lab, let's now give you a quick take on what the Trade Minister Alan Kyerematen has been saying. He's been warning the business community against unfair trade practices. Take a look.
Efforts at having unfair trade practices in our economy will undermine the work that we've done so far in encouraging and supporting local industries. And I believe that the work that the Commission is embarking on will protect our local industries from unfair trade practices. Secondly, the establishment of the Continental Free Trade Area, I believe, will be the most powerful stimulus for attracting investments.
And that's how we end Business Live. I'm Charles Aite. For me and the rest of the team, many thanks for watching. Have a good evening.